Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry for the really poor lighting. This light, no joke, just before I turned the camera on, just stopped working. So I am really sorry for the poor lighting. You're probably not gonna. Well, it's probably a good thing you don't get to see my mean mug anymore. But I'm gonna show you how I set up piston rings for a small block Chevy. What I like to do is take one of these flat bastards. I got two of them here. Set them up in the vise, kick them up at an angle here, and first thing you want to do is make sure you want to get an idea of what you want your rings to be. Don't mind the absolutely horrific handwriting here, but based on Wiseco's thing here, I mild boost up to 15 pounds. That sounds more like me. I did their calculations and I didn't really like their rings. They wanted me at 22 thousandths, which seems really narrow on a street motor with a blower. So I went up to medium boost, 15 to 30 pounds. God forbid if I actually do ever push that much boost, but that's just, I put it up there just for a little bit of extra security because, you know, I don't want to blow this motor up again. This is iteration number 4. Because I'm pretty hard on this motor, so but I'm sorry. Basically what you do is you take this number, they'll give you this sheet, whatever piston manufacturer. If you don't get this sheet, then you probably should run the pistons. You got right here, you got your top ring, and you multiply per inch of bore. So you go down to medium boost right here, 15 to 30 pounds, 0.0070 or 7 thousandths. Sorry, my brain just stopped working. So you take 7 thousandths and you multiply it by 4030 and you get 28 thousandths on the top ring gap right here. And same thing here. Take 73, multiply it by 4030 since the motor's 30 over, and you get 30 thousandths. And it was actually like 29, but I put it out to 30 because I like more of an offset on my rings. Now, to do this, I have an oil can, like I said, the file, rag, pretty simple. Piston rings aren't too hard. I've already done piston 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Already done that. I have them sitting here kind of in order in the most dirty area of the shop. That's mint. But yeah, I'll show you how to do these. Then I'll time lapse the other two that I don't have to do. So what you do is take your piston. This is piston number 6. Now, no, these wrist pins do like to fall out, so I like to take them out and just set them there. You get your piston here. Separate your oil rings. You got your top groove, which is top groove and bottom groove for the oil rings, and you got your main oil scraper right here. Set those out of the way. And then you got your second groove and your top groove. This is your top ring, this is your bottom ring. Let me show you here. Let me pull out these rings. Now each ring is different, but always when you're at the ring, look for a dot, or in the case of the secondary ring, it says top. Also, I'm just realizing. Whew, okay, I have enough rings. I thought I was missing a couple. Okay. Now in this set from Wiseco, this is a full Wiseco kit. The dot one is the top ring. The one that says top is the bottom ring. Now, another thing you can look for, if you get them mixed up and you don't know, and there's no differential here, flip your piston ring upside down. Look for this little edge right here. You see this bevel? There's a little bevel right there. Now, when the piston ring is top like this, the bottom ring, the purpose of that bevel is when your piston's coming down, the crankcase pressure will push up against this thing and help seal the ring better against the piston. Now if you look at this top ring, you'll see the bevel is on the other side. See how the bevel is on the top? That's when it comes up. The compression pressure will help seal the ring better. So if you ever get confused about that, that's a quick, easy look. But what I like to do, I like to do top ring first. First identify which cylinder you're doing. I always look at the piston. If you don't know, I stamped this number 6. So we're going to do cylinder number 6. Bring it over here. You know, small block Chevy. Look for whatever bank is furthest forward. On small block, it's always the driver's side. And this is 1, 3, 5, 7. This is 2, 4, 6, 8. And you guys know the small block firing order, but we won't get into that yet. This is cylinder 6, so this is the one we're going to do. I gap my rings per cylinder. That's just because it's easier that way. I gap my rings for each cylinder. Each ring set is set for its cylinder. I don't do it on the one cylinder because there's a lot of differences, especially when you do such an amazing hone job. But anyway, we won't look past that. So what I like to do, stick your piston ring like this, 90 degrees. I'm not trying to describe that. 90 degrees in, like this, and then rotate it down. Now these are not gapped, so you take your piston here. And this is a straight edge, really, to put it down the bore. See that gap right there? That is your piston ring end gap. And that's where you file to fit. And now, this is why it's so important to file fit your rings. Now, if you just decide to throw in your rings and, you know, send it, and without checking them or gapping them, here, I have an 8/1000 feeler gauge right here. Pretty thin. Never want your ring gap to be that. Oh, this is terrible lighting. I apologize. I'm not very good at this. It barely squeezes in there, and I wouldn't call that good. So I would say it's tighter than 8/1000 on your rings. You know what happens when you have rings tighter than 8/1000? Things blow up. Bad. So, always check your ring end gap. No matter what, if they say they're gapless, check them. And if they're, you know, used, check them. If you pull them out of the motor, check them. Always check your ring end gaps. It is cheap, free security, and it is the most important, I would say, one of the most important clearances on your motor is that piston ring end gap. Because if that ring, actually, let me explain to you. Alright, so you got your piston ring here, right? And you saw how tight it was in that bore. When your piston ring is that tight, heat expands metal. If you don't know that, you probably shouldn't be putting piston rings in a motor. Heat expands these rings, which pinches this gap since it's stuck in this ringland here. Now, when your piston ring comes together, if your gap isn't wide enough, especially under boost, your ring gap will touch like that. And when they touch, it's kind of like freezing water. You know, when you leave water in a copper pipe in a RV and it freezes over winter, it'll crack the pipe. Yeah, there's nowhere for that ring to go. So it's going to break like this. It's going to force itself out like this and blow out this ringland right here, which I've seen it before. Will literally blow the whole side of the piston right out of it. I've done it before. Not from that, it's just too much nitrous. I've literally blown the sides of pistons right out. A little harder to do on forged pistons. It'll probably just really screw things up and you'll get rings stuck and not good, essentially. So, ring gap, remember it. It is super important. Do not forget it. Know your specs. And always measure twice. So, now, I stopped rambling. Let me show you how I do it. Now, Goodson sells a really nice tool that lets you file rings really nicely with a dial indicator and a hard stop so you can just do them. I don't want to spend that much money on a ring filer, I think is what they call it. So, what I do is you grab your file, throw it in the vise, and you just run your piston ring like this, up and down, and always check. Now, A couple things you got to look for too when you're filing. Make sure this piston ring, you're not grinding at an angle, so that piston ring will perfectly, it doesn't have to be perfect, but as close as you can match up to that for better sealing. Always check your gaps, because you'll be amazed at how much you can take off a piston ring at one time. Trust me, always check. I know it's a pain in the butt. I know there's 16 of them. I know it's going to take forever, but you have to do this. This is part of engine building. You got to have patience here, which is really ironic with me saying that, but this is no exception. So, take your piston ring. We already know it's super tight, basically touching, so you take your piston ring, keep it straight, and just run it up and down the file like this. Longer the strokes, the more material you're going to take off. And just keep doing this for a little while until you start, getting comfortable with how much you're taking off. And then you check your ring gap, or you check your ring, make sure you're level. Good. Just keep going. Now, this piston ring was touching, and we got to take it to 28,000, so we have quite a ways to go. So I'm just going to lop off quite a bit here. Alright, we'll call that good just for demonstration purposes. Whenever you file a piston ring like that, you are going to leave a nasty burr on each side of the piston ring right here. Now, that is where we take our other file here and clean up these edges. You really want to clean up these edges. Now, what I do is just run the file kind of like this, just clean them up. Like so, because you'll scratch up your cylinder walls and not good things, and if it catches, you're done for. I just take the file, run it over like this at a slight angle. It's not too rocket science, clearly I'm doing it, so you guys can probably get her done. Just run your finger over it, make sure you can't feel any burrs. I can still feel one right here, so we'll just keep going away at this. And on the other side, just make sure you get all the sides, touch them up as best to your ability. Now you can see, I'm not sure if the lighting's any good, but cleaned up that edge. Take your piston ring over, shove it in the bore, like so. Twist her 90 degrees. Take your piston or flat stop. They do actually sell flat stops, or flat stop. What the hell is a flat stop? Straight edge there. And now you see our 8,000ths thing actually fits in there now. Fits in there pretty good actually. So now you'll get a touch and feel for your feeler gauge when time comes. I like to be able to leave my feeler gauge like this and it not move. However, I can pull it out with no issue. I can't move it side to side like this. I can't move it in and out, but it's, she's in there. I would say that's on the tight side actually, so I'd say this is more close to 9,000ths. When you're at these stages, it's not too big of a deal to rough estimate. But yeah, that's it. You just keep filing, checking, cleaning, filing, checking, cleaning, and you do that 16 times. So I'm going to throw you guys on a time lapse, which I have never done in my life. So God forbid, I don't know how this is going to go. I will show you when I get this ring done, the bottom ring done. I'll show you what a good piston ring looks like, and then we'll get the other two pistons done, and we'll be good to put rods on. All right, fellas, I got this top ring. See, that is 28,000ths, which is our spec. You can put the feeler gauge nice in there, ain't going anywhere. You can pull it out nice and easy. That, remember how small that gap was when we started? Well, now she's widened right back out. Good for boost. So that is one top ring. Probably took about 5 minutes of me filing. That's because I've been doing this for a little bit of time now, so I know how far I can get away on the file. Once you start doing it more and more, you'll get more and more comfortable with it, so it's not too big of a deal. So I'll time lapse doing the bottom ring, and I'll show you how to install oil rings onto the piston itself and how I install these rings, and then I'll time lapse the other two pistons if I have time for today. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that is a filed piston ring ready to go. Only got 6 more to go. Alright fellas, I got this bottom ring done here. The 30 thousandths feeler gauge right there. Goes right in like that. Hanging like that, doesn't go anywhere. I caught that on camera, didn't I? I just had to drop it. Good. Anyway, let me show you how I put these rings on. Piston ring. We got our piston here. Now, when you're dealing with a small block Chevy, pretty lucky, pretty easy engine build. There is no the wrist pin is not severely off center. I actually don't know if they're off center or not. I'm pretty sure they're not, but I've read in some cases some of them are. So I don't know. I'll be honest. I know this one isn't, so or at least shouldn't be too badly. But anyway, regardless of that, you want to look at the piston. You want to see a smiley face. These are your 2 valve reliefs. Now, if you have a dome, the dome will be here, obviously, or it'll be flat. If you have flat tops, I have dishes here for my blower. So you have a dish. So it kind of looks like a smiley face, 2 eyes and a smiley face. So this is the correct way the piston goes into the bore. Now, you want to make sure of this, and keep in mind, this is on this bank of the motor. So, you know, that'll slide in there, and that right is the front of the motor. So, you got an oil can full of, actually chainsaw bar roll, because it's thick and viscous and sticks. So, what I could do is just put some oil right here in oil rings. If I can get this old oil can to pick up any oil. There we go. And put some oil in here. Just help these rings sit in here and lubricate while it's running. Also put some on the ring lands. I need to put some more oil in this can, obviously. She's not exactly full. Yep. It's working. That should be enough. Now, then you're going to take your oil rings. Now, the first ring to go on is your oil scraper. You see how this has, where it splits here? There's an end here. Now, really it doesn't really too matter, but I like it facing this way with these 2 U's kind of up like this. So simply with these oil rings, it's pretty hard to hurt them. You just spread the ring, throw it right in the bore. There you go. Pretty simple. Now another thing too that is another debate is clocking your rings. Now the Wise Coast thing here actually gives you a place where to clock them. It says that expander ring I put on this side of the piston, this is the engine front, so everything is going to be 180. Your top compression ring, second compression ring, and then your oil rails just go up here. I don't know. I'm not. I think they spin in the bore personally, but I always clock them just to, you know, because why not? Anyway, now we got our oil rings here. These are just really thin, basically piston rings, really flimsy, flexible. No, I shouldn't say flimsy, flexible oil rings. So we got our split right here on the main skirt here. So we'll take our oil ring. I'm just going to call them oil rings because I'm getting confused. And basically just start them on. They're pretty flexible, so they're pretty hard to hurt. And just throw them on the underside of this oil ring. Make sure nothing is, you know, too crazy. I take my fingernail here. I'm clocking them. And that is clocked correctly. And you take your other oil ring groove here. Do the same thing. I think even most engine builders actually put oil rings on by hand, because I mean there's no point of having an oil compressor or anything for these. They're so, you know, lightweight and simple. Just run them here, put my fingernail in here, grab the edge of this ring and clock it like so, like that. So now we have our our oil scraper here, and our ring gap here, and our other ring gap here. So now you want to grab your main piston rings. So we got our top ring, or the ring that says top. This is not your top ring, it's your bottom ring. Pre-gapped. Did I clean up that edge? Yeah, I did. Alright. Take it, put it here. I like to start maybe with one side. Basically just spread the ring like that, and just drop it down. Run the ring over like that, and bam. And then you're going to want to clock them accordingly to the wrist pin right here. And you take your top one, do the same thing. Spread eagle. Spread the ring. Be very careful when doing this. You do not want to break your piston ring. And yes, that is very possible. I've done it before, and that was not a happy day for me. I'll tell you that for free. But if you're careful, take her easy, snap right on, clock them, and this piston is ready to go with all gapped rings. So now I'm going to throw my wrist pin back in here so I don't lose it or get it confused with another one, like so. And I got these two spiral locks right here. I'm going to throw in here for when we go to assemble it. And that's that. There you go. And make sure not to lose your oil rings, because that's not good if you do that. But wipe your hands off, and that is, we're one piston closer to doing this. I already did this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, 1 through 6. And now, don't worry, 7 through 8 are hiding back there, I promise. There's just some stuff. But do that, and I'll get that done, and then we are very close to throwing a bottom end in this once bearings get here, and I clean some parts and clean the bottom end out of this thing. But I will be sure to record that for you fellers and fellettes out there, so you guys can see how I do that. And I'm going to be using a good friend that everyone despises, the old plastic gauge, because I don't have any of the fancy calipers or anything like that. So I'll show you how to use plastic gauge. Pick up my feeler gauges. In case you guys are wondering, I've already cleaned this block out. I've power washed it, and I didn't want to pay for the dunking, so I just blew it out with the hose, compressed air, and pressure washed it, and what's that stuff called? Easy off the paint. Try to get it off, but I mean, it's actually on here pretty good. So we're going to repaint this, of course, but I'm going to put some junk accessory parts and the heads on it before I paint them. Stuff like that. Yeah, I got everything oiled up so nothing is going to rust. That's a big one. When you wash your blocks, you want to make sure you have oil on every single metal surface that doesn't, isn't supposed to be rusty. Pretty makes sense. And you really want to oil up these aluminum heads, because you really don't want these rusting at all. It's a joke. Basically what's to come is cam bearings, whole bottom end, we'll put the cam in, lifters in, maybe the heads on, the rods on pistons, throw the bottom end together, and we'll have a short block, actually long block with the heads. And I'll show you how to do the bearings, plastic gauge everything, clean it up, paint it, and then we'll have to clean these heads up. I'll show you how I do that, clean the heads up, all this stuff. We'll throw the heads on, and I'll show you how to check valve train geometry, because we're probably going to run into issues with that with our thick head gaskets on these. These are comp 7.800 long push rods, 80 thou wall thickness, chromoly. Good stuff. But yeah, so I am very excited. I hope you guys are also excited to see what that bad boy sounds like on a pretty healthy small block. So I'm going to do these piston rings. You guys will have to wait until I can get all this stuff back together and hopefully done. And I hope to fire the car up on August 15th. That's a week before my birthday, so that'd be really nice if I could do that, but you know how that goes. Probably ain't gonna happen. There's a ton of stuff. Meanwhile, I may as well ramble in the end of the video. There's a ton of stuff I gotta do. Torque converter, fuel line, clean up everything, rewire the car, remove a bunch of junk, figure out fuel lines and throttle linkage and crank pulleys and all that good stuff. So, and the GoPro is saying it's dying, so I should probably end this video. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm gonna keep going at it with these piston rings, and you guys sit tight and see what's gonna look like. Let's hope it's gonna look good. It better. And it better run good too. So, alright, anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and comment anything I've done wrong or any suggestions you have for me so I can say they're too expensive and move on. And yeah, we'll see how things go, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.